Want to make your iPhone photos look like those high-end professional level DSLR, shallow depth of field, mirrorless camera bokeh photos? Keep watching. I found this new app called Focos or something like that. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's F-O-C-O-S. I'm gonna roll with calling it Focus. If you're like me, you've got one of the newer iPhones, the iPhone 7 Plus or 8 Plus or 10, and you've been experimenting with the new portrait mode. One thing that the portrait mode can do that's really cool is get that shallow depth of field look. By using both cameras, it takes your subject and carves out your subject and makes the background blurry. And instantly, our photos look way better. Shallow depth of field is something that big cameras, DSLRs, mirrorless cameras really do well. The portrait mode kinda gets you there, but it's not enough. So this app is insane. What it lets you do, it lets you control all of this stuff after the fact. Just to be clear, this app only works with the iPhone 7 Plus, 8 Plus, and 10. You need those two cameras and kind of the faster processing of the newer phones. On the 10, it'll work with the front camera and the rear camera. On the others, it's only gonna work with the rear camera. This app is free. It does have some paid upgrades. So that's what I did. I unlocked everything. 10 bucks, not bad. All right, so enough talking about this app. Let's go outside. Let's use this thing. Let's put it up on its feet and let's show you guys what this app can do. Whew. So let me get into it. I am going to go right to the Focos. I still don't know how it's pronounced. Let's call it Focus. The number one thing you can see is that this is using something similar to the Apple portrait mode. The background is blurry and the foreground's in focus. But watch this. Boom, I just tapped on the background. Look at that. You can control your focus after the fact. Crazy, I know. Let's say I want the tree to be in focus. There you go. Right there, that is the true power of this app. This lends itself to a very professional DSLR type of photography. Okay, so you've got this background that's kind of blurry. The first thing, if you look at the settings down on the bottom, is you have aperture, and that's just how much blur there is. You can really blur the shnikes out of it. I'm gonna go to the diaphragm, and diaphragm is the shape of the bokeh, the shape of the blur in the background. So it's really apparent in the lights. Right here I have these two sections in the bottom called basic, and basic is like a round blurriness that's soft or a round blurriness that's sharp. They also have some fun ones. You could do hearts. Let's say you're doing something that's romantic. Now, the hearts are at a strange angle, and they have right here rotation. So I could rotate the heart to be upright. I'm gonna stick to a hexagon for this one. This is not your Lightroom or Photoshop affecting the whole image. These are specific tools for affecting the bokeh. So I can go to highlight and I can change the intensity. Vivid, I think it's like saturation. So I can have more color or I can have less color. Softness, you're actually blurring the bokeh on top of the defocus that's already there. You can see it if I zoom in. If I unblur them, you can see they've got a sharper edge to them. If I blur them, everything's really soft. Bilinear is a big one for me. If you slide it all the way to the right, you get more of like a hollowed out type piece. Somewhere in the middle here, I think it's gonna look pretty good. Creamy is really like an edge blur, so you can bring it, not an edge blur, but like an edge vignette kind of, so you can darken the edges. Corrosion is like, it eats into them, so you start cutting out the shape a little bit. It's the mistakes that are beautiful, guys. It's the imperfections that we all love and connect with in creativity and art. The swirliness makes it a little interesting, like the lens's glass is a little warped property. And then Rgb Shift is chromatic aberration. We all love chromatic aberration. Dust, you can cycle through these little different options for dust that goes inside of it. If you go back to bilinear and turn it off, there you go. You can start seeing the dust in there. Look at that. I just created some custom bokeh in this app on this photo. I mean, I think this is amazing. And now I could just take this photo and hit this up arrow, and it does take some processing time. You have to hit that up arrow after you've taken a photo to save it. If you don't, and you hit the back button to take another photo, you're going to lose it. But once you hit the up arrow, it's going to do two things. It's going to save a JPEG, so you have it on your phone, but it's also going to save it into the app so that if I wanted to, I could go right back into it and keep editing it. Let me go to another example, another photo I took yesterday in the morning, just because I really like this photo. Again, you can see that I can increase or decrease the blur back there. I kind of dialed in a bokeh look in the background that I liked already. But the things that I was struggling with on this photo is that the water is still a little bit in focus past her. The foreground is maybe a little too sharp. So watch this. If I hit effect, all of a sudden I can go and I can pinch zoom out here. You're gonna see, and I'm gonna slide this yellow slider back and forth. Look at that. Wow. That's pretty cool, guys. You can actually see a 180-degree rotational view of the depth map of what depth the phone captured. You can see that the foreground of the fountain is in front of her. She's kind of, you know, a little bit back, and then you've got the tree, the water going back into the trees, going back into the sky way in the distance. Now down below we have these two orangish red sticks, and these represent the foreground and the background bokeh. And you can actually slide and control these. Now, let me show you how it works. So if the minute I hold down on one of them, you get a color that represents where it is. So what I actually want to do is I'm going to try and bring this all the way up right to her, and I might have to pinch zoom and get really close to her right here. See, here's my sausage fingers. There we go. Yeah, so maybe her hair's gotten a little bit softer, but I do like, and it's subtle, that it's brought the blur in a lot closer to her. But I can do more. I can take this front bokeh, and I'm going to bring it all the way back up into her, and I'm going to tap on it now, and I'm going to very subtly blur the foreground even more. I'm going to hit this check mark, and I'm going to hit this check mark again because I'm happy with all my changes. So now I've gone in and I've used these sliders to really isolate my subject. I'm not done yet though. Notice this little plus down in the bottom corner. I'm going to hit that plus, and you're going to get all these different options here. Let's try temperature. So let's try warming up the background just a little bit. That's cooling it off. So now I have a much cooler background, and maybe I could warm it up. Look at that. So again, I could go one direction with her, maybe cool her off a bunch, and go another direction with the background. And I've created more separation using color, but I've used the distance information to change the colors in the foreground and background. In conclusion, everybody, I love this app. You don't need a $7,000 or a $5,000 camera anymore to do some amazing things. Go out, get this app, Focos, whatever it's called. Developer, if you're out there, just tell us how to pronounce it. So let the revolution begin. This is a weapon of mass creation, and you guys are the army out there creating content. If you guys like what I'm doing and you want to see more of this, please consider hitting the like button or subscribing down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It has been a really long night and a really rewarding night. So long. See ya. Bye-bye.